Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's me again, Jen. Hello! And it is Thursday. We're almost done with the week. It is Thursday, and it is the third day of September. And we are reading from the Goddess Tarot. It is a tarot deck that I've had in my collection for quite some time, and it is written and illustrated by Chris Wilder. And I think it is an absolutely stunning deck. It is very feminine oriented, so guys who watch this, my deepest condolences, I guess, for you're going to be kind of cut out of this one a little bit. So, without further ado, let's see what lovely lady, what goddess or goddess inspired card we have for today for this lovely Thursday. Oh, okay, cool. All right, a major arcana. This is exciting. Okay, I really like the major arcana in this, and I think we started off with Juno. So the major arcana all represent a goddess, not just a pantheon of goddesses or a mythology or anything like that, a particular goddess and what she means and embodies. So today we have wisdom, and it is the second in the major arcana, which normally is the high priestess. And the high priestess is represented by Saraswati. I really hope I pronounced that right. So Saraswati is from the more Hindu pantheon of India, and she is a multi-limbed goddess. And I really love this goddess for a couple of very personal reasons, as well as like just this is an absolute gorgeous depiction of this character. And we'll talk a little bit about like the background behind her, as well as like some of the elements that are in the picture itself. But I kind of want to start out with the traditional meaning of the high priestess, which I really think Saraswati totally embodies this. Wisdom, but in the sense of, and I really should say, like, it's wisdom, not so much just knowledge. So there is a difference. Knowledge is anything that you collect kind of from the outside world and bring back to yourself or bring back to others. Wisdom is kind of chewing on that knowledge for a while, really digesting it, and then making it your own. You don't really know something, so to speak, until you've taken time to digest it. And in some cases, you don't really know a thing until you've taught it to somebody else. And I say this in a very practical way. I'm not saying that, you can't learn something and understand it and really glom onto it and get it. But to some degree, when you learn something and you have the opportunity to teach it to somebody else, to extend that knowledge to another individual, you have to know it well enough to process it in a way that this person will understand it. So you can't just regurgitate information. You can process it and find new meaning and find the nuance in it so that you can carry it on to others. So with the wisdom of the high priestess, it also does evoke that connection to the spiritual as well as the self. So it's kind of a threefold situation with the high priestess. You want a character that embodies the ability to gather knowledge without bias and be able to kind of bring that all in and consume it outright. Just, oh yeah, that's great, that's great, that's great. Let me just bring all that in. And then to use kind of spiritual knowledge and that connection to higher self to say, okay, but what is real in this? And what can I really connect to? And how can I reapply this to my life? And then you have kind of that in-between side of things, which is how do I carry what I know in my heart through to what I've collected and make it something that's tangible for the rest of the world. So wisdom is that combination of all those things, and it seems really heady and very kind of maybe a little overwhelming, but that's what Sarasvati is all about. It's also that all-encompassing, and this goes into kind of my more personal reasons for really loving Sarasvati. She has 4 arms. I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera, but I always take a picture and I'll put that up there. So she she has 4 arms, and in her arms she has a couple of different things. So she's got this lute, this instrument, this string instrument that she is clearly playing with 2 hands. And so there's 2 hands are occupied. In one of her hands, she has the beads, which represents spirituality. And then she has the book in this hand, which is knowledge and literature and communication and those kinds of things and the histories. The instrument itself is obviously the arts and music and that kind of thing, but it's also, and this is my interpretation based on knowing that music has a mathematical quality to it. The lute also represents mathematics and that sort of connection to things. So here she is embodied kind of the 4 different directions that her hands can reach out across the earth. And also she embodies kind of all of these different studies, all of these different paths to knowledge and all of these different paths to wisdom. And if you have kind of a piece of all of them, you use that to kind of create a connection to all of them. With music, we understand math, and with math, we understand music. With lyrics, we understand the voice of that music. And so we have the knowledge of words, and we can tell our stories through this, and we can, dictate when time happened through math and through history. And then through the spirituality of things, we can kind of find that the balance of good and evil and what is morals and what does this teach us, and all of those kinds of things all wind around each other to create kind of this root understanding of who we are as people. And my personal reason for loving this is because I always feel like I don't have enough hands and I'm always trying to learn something new. I'm a very polymath kind of person and I like to learn something different every day. And I'm always kind of trying to find those connections. And as somebody who is a teacher as well, I like to find different ways to teach those things in different modalities. So I love that she is the goddess of wisdom because with all those hands, she clearly can figure out at least some way of collecting knowledge and dispersing it in different ways. I wanted to talk a little bit about the background as well as like the scene that she's sitting in. There's clearly a connection to India in the topography that is represented in this closer image. As well, we've got kind of the birds here represented, which I don't know if I want to give it away just yet, but we're going to talk more about why the birds are important. Because again, she is going to represent one of the suits that we talk about in the lesser arcana, in the minor arcana. So for now, though, I want to talk about how she is like in the water, and there's definitely a water element to this, as well as the air element of the mountains and the earth element of the mountains themselves. So she's sitting in a lotus, though, in a lily that is floating, and that's that connection to the gods, to the higher self. Is that lotus is always really a strong represented image or symbol, flower in the Indian pantheon, shall we say. So this is all so connected. There's so much going on in this. And I love that the colors of this are so, it really draws your eye to that lotus blossom in the front there, but also the brightness that is underneath it. So it's kind of glowing. So it has a very ethereal aspect. Even though it's clearly something that is floating on the water, it does give also that perception of it's floating. It's not really connected to the water. It's not really on the water. It's maybe just settling or just rising from it. So there's Saraswati, who is an amazing goddess. If you ever look into that character, oh my gosh, so interesting, so fascinating, all of these things. And she's so beautiful with her crown and all the jewelry and all of this stuff going on. I absolutely love it. So I hope that that's a nice little introduction to that little bit of mythology, as well as kind of touching on how that connects to the high priestess in the more traditional tarot. if you have any questions or comments, or you want to ask about like Saraswati, or I pronounced it totally wrong and you want to tell me how I pronounced it right, please leave a comment below. I love discussing this stuff. I'm always open to other interpretations of these things, and it's always so much fun to see what people have to say about these cards. As always, if you would like a reading or a deeper lesson or anything like that, check out the links in the description below, and how we can connect on my website or through Discord or other things like that. So also feel free, check out the playlist. We're covering a whole bunch of different cards this month with the Goddess Tarot, and we'll be talking about a bunch of goddesses hopefully too. So it's kind of a little bit fun for me in that I get to play with a deck of cards I've had for a really long time. So until next time, please stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourselves as we go into the weekend. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye!